Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order. Order. Ready. Ready. Over. Wall.
Once again, on behalf of the Richmond Police Department and the Training Academy, to the friends, family, and those being commissioned as new officers today, we welcome you. We would especially like to thank the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts for hosting us here today in the beautiful Cheek Theater. Please allow me to introduce you right now to Dr. Michael Taylor, Chief Curator and Deputy Director for Art and Education here at VMFA.
Thank you so much. So we are so honored to have you here today, even the young ones who are more vocal than me. To the graduating class, we cannot thank you enough for your dedication and for keeping this city safe. And the museum is just, as I said, the museum looks forward to this event every year. We are touched that you choose this state agency. We're the only museum in America that is free and open 365 days a year, and we're here to serve you. We want to express our thanks for your service and everything you do by offering you free tickets to our exhibition, Storied Strings. So if you see this green voucher on the desk as you leave, do take one. It means it's a VIP ticket. It means you don't have to stand in line. You just go straight in. And I just wanted to say the museum, it was open in 1936. You're in the Leslie Cheek Theater, which is 1954, with a great history. There's something for everyone here. Do enjoy it. Come back again. And once again, congratulations to the graduation class. Thank you very much.
And now I would like to introduce to you Whitney Cromer, who is the class president of the 125th Basic Recruit class. And we'll hear how she sums up the class experience and their training efforts. Whitney.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to start off by thanking everyone for attending and showing support to the 125th Basic Recruit class here today. Additionally, I would like to congratulate my precinct captain, Anthony Jackson, on his promotion today. 34 weeks ago, on April 11th, 2022, 16 individuals started a journey that would result in the 12 of us here today reaching a great milestone in our lives, the transformation from police recruits to commissioned police officers. In the beginning of our training, it was difficult navigating so many different personalities to form one unit, who would be known as the 125th Basic Recruit Class. There were many trials and errors through the process of trying to evolve and mold ourselves into the police recruits our training staff, co-workers, and city would be proud of. Our many different personalities clashed in the beginning, but the differences started turning into advantages. Where one of us would lack skill or understanding, there was always someone in the class to help someone struggling. We were our own, each unique piece to a puzzle. Through each physical training session, along with the battles through each evolution in our training, the individuals we were had formed a solid unit. We started to learn how important it was to never leave a recruit behind and work together as a team. What seemed like torture in certain moments, CS gas, for example, has turned into some of the greatest moments in the academy to look back on. I know we will never forget the feeling of anticipation before walking through the gas cloud, what we endured during, and being there for each other while we gasped for air and recovered. All to be described in 3 words from Recruit Preston: it was something. Also during patrol tactics, when we all lined up for our safety check, for our sergeant and instructors to find that we had all stored a Snickers bar in our mag pouches to give them a laugh. Little did we know, they would give themselves an even bigger laugh at the Snickers contest they organized for us at the end of the day, where we each had to try to eat a whole Snickers bar as fast as possible. And that was the day we all learned that recruit roots could eat an entire Snickers bar in one bite. I would like to take a moment to thank the training staff involved in our development for all the effort and hard work they put in to getting us where we are today. We recognize that the long hours of training doesn't only interfere with your time, but also your family and friends. Thank you for making that sacrifice. It does not go unnoticed. This isn't the end of our training, but only the beginning. The last 34 weeks has laid a foundation for each of us to continue building on throughout our careers as police officers. The more you learn, the more there is to learn. The last 34 weeks has been an experience we will never forget, going from individuals to a family. It was an honor to serve as president of the 125th Basic Recruit Class, where every piece matters. Thank you.
Wow, an entire Snickers bar. Roots. Wow, that's major accomplishment. and I know, I'm sure that our next guest knows about snacks and Snicker bars. On behalf of the city of Richmond and the office, Mayor LeVar Stoney, join me in welcoming Chief Administrative Officer Lincoln Saunders to the podium.
All right, I feel like I have to explain that joke a little bit. We were laughing because we saw Major Sybil Elamine in the front row repeat a trick she has pulled with my little 2-year-old and given little Alana a snack that she just has buried in that giant bag that she carries everywhere to keep her quiet while Dad's being honored. But I guess you could also say I probably like snacks too. But in any case, good morning, everybody. My name is Lincoln Saunders, and it's my honor to serve as the Chief Administrative Officer for the City of Richmond. And if you aren't sure what the Chief Administrative Officer is, don't worry, I'm still figuring it out too. But it is my honor on behalf of Mayor Stoney to be here today to first recognize the promotion of Captain Anthony Jackson, as well as to celebrate and welcome the 125th Basic Recruit Class to the Richmond Police Department. And I will add, and I appreciated Whitney's comments about the spirit of family that you feel as a recruit class, and I just want you to know that there's another 3,000 city employees who you are now joining our family as well with the City of Richmond, and so thank you for joining this team and for devoting your service to the citizens of Richmond. We cannot thank you enough for stepping forward to serve. First, let me also just say I would like to add my thanks to the training staff within the Richmond Police Department and ask if we could please give them a round of applause for the fantastic training they have provided these officers. We know that the training that you have received through the academy is going to prepare you for your service with the city and to the citizens. But in addition to that training, you are also surrounded by over 600 officers who have the experience and leadership that I hope you will have the opportunity to both have them as your mentors and learn from. It was an honor this morning to be able to attend the Valor Awards representing exemplary service amongst public safety officials in the greater Richmond region this morning. And more than any other department in the region, the city of Richmond had the opportunity to see 12 of our officers honored for their valor, for going above and beyond the call of duty. So you have some incredible individuals to learn from and to work with, who I know will serve as those models for you to set for yourself as those examples. And so, again, I would like to ask that I don't know that any of them are in the room today. If they are, please stand. But if we could join me in expressing our appreciation with a round of applause for those 12 Valor recipients today. The events with which those individuals were recognized, or for which those individuals were recognized, required unusual bravery and sound judgment under tremendous pressure and in the face of tremendous risk. And while it would be my hope that you never have to be in such a situation, we know by putting on that badge, the chances are that you will experience it through your career, if not on a near daily basis. So just know that we, as the administration, as the citizens of Richmond, the mayor, I see representatives of city council here, one of the most tenacious supporters of public safety and police, Councilwoman Reva Trammell. If you are assigned to the 2nd Precinct, please get to know her because she will be calling you directly very soon. As well as Councilman Michael Jones, who will be calling right after her. But we have you have a tremendous amount of support from the mayor, the administration, and city council. We have been working to take steps to improve the working conditions and compensation, et cetera, for officers over the last several years, but we have a lot more work to do. And that is my commitment to you as officers. It's also my commitment to the family members who are represented here today. There's nothing I'm prouder of than the little 2-year-old girl that I come home to every night. But I couldn't do what I do if it wasn't for her and my wife, Ashley. And these individuals are not going to be able to do what we have asked them to do without the support of everyone here today, and particularly their family, whether it be parents, partners, friends, siblings, children. So we are committed to supporting them, as I know you are, and I want to thank you for allowing us to avail ourselves of the talents of these individuals. It is greatly appreciated, and we will do our absolute best to do right by them through our actions as an administration. My last, thing I wanted to say today is just that simply, the job you're being asked to do is going to require tremendous sacrifice and selflessness. But do not let that keep you from taking care of yourselves and one another. Obviously, your classmates, but also everyone that you serve with. Part of the changes we're making in administration is to create better opportunities for the sort of both physical and mental health supports, because whether trauma happens to you or just acknowledging the fact that on most days, the people you interact with are having their worst day. And trauma can be transferred from those individuals and the experiences that you are witnessing them go through. And that takes a toll. So whether your outlet is the gym or, I could go down a list of hobbies, but whatever that is, please take the time for yourself, take the time to take care of yourself. And if you need the help and support of any of us, be it council, myself, the chief, the administration, know that we are here for you, and we want you to be successful both professionally and personally. So again, I'll conclude with that and simply say, please take care of yourselves, but thank you for stepping up and stepping forward to serve this city. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lincoln, and I was teasing about the snacks. It's all good. Promise. And now would really love to show you in a moment a bit more behind the scenes, but first would like to welcome to the stage and the podium to present class awards to some members of the 125th, our captain and director of the Training Academy, Captain Kelly O'Connell.
Good morning. Good morning, 125. You ready? Okay, looking for Pritchard. All right, Physical Fitness Award. Physical Fitness Award is presented to the recruit who has the highest average on all the physical fitness tests given throughout the recruit training. The recipient of the Physical Fitness Award is Officer Meredith McCauley. Emergency Vehicle Operations Award. The EVOC Award is presented to the recruit who displayed outstanding judgment and control while operating a police vehicle. The recruits were tested on a variety of driving courses to include quick reaction courses, skid control, emergency response, and day and night pursuit driving. The 125th top driver is Officer Arnold Roots. Firearms Award. This award is given to the recruit who obtained the highest average score on all the department and DCJS firearms qualification courses. This officer demonstrated a high level of proficiency and safety with the department-issued handgun and shotgun. The recipient of the Firearms Award is Officer Meredith McCauley. Captain Vernon F. Mike Hall Award. This award is named in memory of Captain Hall for his contributions to police training. This award is given to the recruit that had maintained the highest academic average throughout recruit training. The recipient of the Captain Vernon Mike Hall Award is Officer John Mitchell. The Nancy White Thomas Award. This award is in honor of Mrs. Nancy White Thomas for her inspiration and contributions to recruit training for over 42 years. Ms. Thomas passed away in 2007. However, she remains a very special friend to the Richmond police family and has been an inspiration to every recruit class since 1966. This award recognizes the recruit who has demonstrated the most outstanding overall performance throughout recruit training. The recipient of the Nancy White Thomas Award is Officer James Gibson. The J.D. Ross Servant Leadership Award. This award is named in honor of retired RPD Sergeant James Ross, otherwise known as J.D. It is rewarded to the recruit in each graduating class that exemplifies the core traits of a true servant leader. JD exemplified the philosophy of servant leadership every day in that his actions were always focused on the betterment of his personnel and this organization. Some of the core traits possessed by any good leader are accountability, selflessness, humility, dependability, and respect for others. Today's recipient has consistently demonstrated these core traits over the past 34 weeks as witnessed by members of the 125th Basic Recruit Class. Therefore, it is my honor and privilege to present the J.D. Ross Servant Leadership Award to Officer Arnold Roots.
Wow, congratulations. That is amazing. And to show you a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look at what the 125th class achieved during their training, we have a very special presentation that documents a little over 32 weeks that these recruits have been challenged and pushed to earn the badges you see here. And of course, none of them could have accomplished this without their family and their friends and your support and love. We know you've heard stories about their training, and with the expertise of the RPD Public Affairs Unit, we have a behind-the-scenes look at what the recruits did to get here today with a video tribute to their hard work and accomplishments. Please enjoy this production of the Richmond Police Department Public Affairs Unit.
Richmond, please. Keep your hands up.
All right, do you want to press charges on him, man?
Can I get your license and registration, please?
Get your hand behind your back!
Left!
Turn the car off and take the keys out of the ignition.
Death by PowerPoint.
4-9.
10-4.
Ready?
Feels great. It's been a long academy.
It's great, you know, it's been a long 8 months.
It's a great sense of accomplishment.
I knew it would be hard. I knew physically, like, we'd have to push ourselves.
Where's the speed and intensity?
Man, Ocho. Yeah, that whole day is a blur. Burpees and squats, push-ups. All is absolutely chaos.
Doing all sorts of exercises in repeat because we weren't quote unquote doing them right.
Bear crawls, and we had to stay in one line.
When you walk across the bridge and you look down the river, that's really nice. It reminds you why you're there, overlooking the city.
It's a good way to like get out of the moment and be like, oh, you know, this is real pretty. And then you hear someone yelling, you're like, oh, all right, we're back in. All right, here we go.
Stress training. It forces you to think about what they're saying and not how they're saying it.
So welcome aboard. All these officers coming in, yelling, telling us to do burpees, push-ups, 6 inches, sit-ups, planks.
Moving the tables, moving the chairs. Getting PT'd for not knowing how we were supposed to put the tables and chairs in place.
I didn't know what a U formation was with tables and everything.
We got our greens, and we're like, holy cow.
So we got the greens, and it's like, this is nice, we made a step, but once you realize what green phase kind of consists of, it's like, wow, okay, this is much of the same.
You know, you look back and you see the greens, and you're like, that's what I was, like, that color?
We look so goofy in them. My girlfriend and I come home and she's like, you just look like a green bean.
We were so proud of ourselves for earning the greens.
Now we've made a step.
Yeah, that feeling of accomplishment. I mean, the blues transition, but we started out blindfolded. They put us in the backs of vans. They started playing all sorts of strange music.
Immediate yelling.
Formation, hurry up, let's go!
We still have the blindfolds on. We don't know where anyone is. They're pulling us around. We're trying to do PT blindfolded. A chaotic 16 hours.
You're tired, you're hungry, it's cold, it's dark.
It's physical, but it's also psychological, what's happening to you.
It really makes you think, and it forces your teamwork.
The recruit class came together completely. What kept us going was mustard.
Apparently mustard helps with cramps.
So that is in our display case right now.
It was a lot of fun. You know, after we had gotten past the halfway mark, then it's like, all right, like, you've committed. You're like, I'm not going anywhere.
And getting our blues, it was very rewarding.
Go into the classroom and then on the desk is like all of our bags of blues, and it's like, oh man, there it is.
It's getting me excited. You know what? What do y'all think? Some push-ups?
I think doing push-ups behind Major Goins is like, okay.
Let's keep going.
I enjoyed being a part of it. I think it's important to highlight not only the officers that are already out on the street, but those that are currently in the process of getting to be on the street.
It's good to kind of get out into the community. The 9/11 Memorial stair climb, the clay shoot, that was pretty fun.
I absolutely loved the opportunities we got to work with PAL, and I really, really appreciate their mission.
February 5th, 1937.
So I think the police memorial ceremony, I think that was really important. We got to understand more of a background and foundation of Richmond Police Department.
Taser, taser, taser.
A really important reason to go ahead and get tased is you know how it feels, so you know what level of force you are giving someone.
The CS gas, we split into 2 groups.
Some of the wind is blowing it back towards us, and we get just a whiff of it, and we're like, oh man, this is bad.
You got this, keep going, you got this.
Open them. I don't even want to talk about OC, man.
Open your eyes. How many fingers? 2.
It was probably one of the worst situations, like things I've ever been through in my entire life.
OC day was spicy, spicy to say the least. I saw some that were actually pretty calm through the obstacles we had to go through, and it's like, oh wow. And then there was others where you think that they may need
102 West Graham Road.
medical attention.
Pretty bad. Like the worst sunburn I've ever had.
So the evac was my favorite. I mean, I probably drove like that before, so I had good practice with it.
Begin scenario.
Richmond Police!
You're the officer in patrol tactics, and you have to come up with a solution.
For sure that 2 weeks was probably the best of the academy for me. Unit 111 out of 1.
You know, the first day, we were like, what are we doing?
You can turn your vehicle off and then...
It's already off?
Right. That is true.
At the beginning, we're kind of like crawling, like we're learning kind of like how the scenarios are playing, what's going on.
But I can't drive though. You told me I was suspended.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Are you trying to trick me?
I'm not trying to trick you,
You're trying to arrest me, right?
No, sir.
Almost night and day with as far as confidence goes in patrol tactics. I'll never forget the first day after we left. I was really questioning myself, like, wow, I feel like I don't know anything.
Turn the car off, take the key.
You're a needed person, aren't you, man?
The most stressful part about any of the scenarios that they put us through is really the unknown.
Richmond Police! Get in here, make yourself known.
The confidence each and every day that was built up.
Put your hands in the back of your head. You got a gun right here.
Stay where you are.
Understanding that each situation is unique and like each person requires their own specific way of addressing them.
If you're gonna put it just right here, that's fine.
Was your phone on when you took it?
Sorry, let me make sure I got this straight. Cheesecake Factory.
Hey, listen to what?
Their instinct training, and it's just like, okay, it's go time. Let's go.
All of a sudden, you know that at the very least, you're confident.
I appreciate it. And then I'm gonna go run your information and I'll be right back.
Towards the last day, it was like, okay, yeah, I feel good. You leave a scenario and you're like, wow,
Hey, how you doing?
everything that we've been training just naturally comes out. And it was a great feeling.
Keep an eye on you.
Okay, I'm one step closer to being an officer.
Protect with honor, serve with pride.
I love the flag.
I think it speaks to like why we're all here for policing. Protect, serve. We're all here for that. Protect and serve the city of Richmond.
You still do what you do because you love your line of work, you love your city, you love the community, you want to make this place a safer place.
Absolutely, we're definitely ready. And I know we're all excited, and we can't stop talking about finally getting out there.
I definitely think we're ready to be on the streets, for sure.
Class is ready. Richmond should be ready. Protect with honor, serve with pride.
That's amazing. Wow. Well, now we've come to the part where we would like to commission our newest officers of the Richmond Police Department. Here to administer the oath is R.J. Warren, Deputy Clerk of the City of Richmond. R.J.
Please raise your right hand. Now, individually, Say the letter I, followed by your full name.
I, Sean Carpenter.
I, Whitney Cromer.
I, Antonio Fitzpatrick.
I, James Gibson.
I, Mohammed Hamid.
I, Meredith McCauley.
I, John Mitchell.
I, Samuel Morgan.
I, Aaron Preston.
I, Arnold Bruce.
I, Dallas Wayne.
I, Andrew Weiser.
Now collectively, repeat after me. Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear
That I will support.
that I will support
The Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
That I will faithfully.
and that I will faithfully
And impartially.
and impartially
Discharge all the duties.
discharge all the duties
Incumbent upon me.
incumbent upon me
As a Richmond City Police Officer.
as a Richmond City police officer,
According to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
The symbol that represents their chosen profession is the badge. A badge is not given, it is earned. Now, Acting Chief Rick Edwards will present each officer with their badge. Sean Carpenter. Today, he'll be pinned by his grandfather and joined by his family. He's from Chesterfield, Virginia. Carpenter has always aspired to be a law enforcement officer. He wants to help people on their worst days while being proactive to prevent those kinds of days for all of our residents. Eventually, he wants to get involved in drug and firearms interdiction work. Coming to RPD, Carpenter knew that he was going to gain the most experience and have the best opportunity to move throughout the department. He's excited to serve our community and sees it as a chance to learn as much as possible starting on day one. Whitney Cromer. Her badge is being pinned today by the father figure in her life and mentor. She's from Beckley, West Virginia, excuse me. Cromer chose law enforcement as a career path because she wants to help make the community she lives in a safer place. Cromer chose to be RPD because this department provides growth opportunities. And she wants to make community policing a priority while working to get guns and drugs off the streets. She wants to also show youth of our community that law enforcement are good people. Cromer chose RPD because she felt like it was her calling to be an officer in the city. Antonio Fitzpatrick. His badge is being pinned today by Instructor Butler. Born in Richmond and raised in New Kent County, he chose to be RPD because of the diversity represented within the department. He also says that he knows that opportunities exist and he's ready to serve. As an RPD law enforcement officer, he hopes to make a positive difference in the lives of others. James Gibson. All the way from Kentucky, he's decided to join RPD to help people who can't help themselves. He wants to be a positive voice in our community. 2 takeaways he shared from basic recruit training. He says, never give up. And when it gets tough, be tougher. Pinning his badge is Instructor Maternan. Muhammad Hamid. Pinning his badge are members of his family, including Sergeant Pond and Virginia State Police Trooper Hannah, all the way from Hit, Baghdad. Hamid grew up in a war zone most of his life, and having seen peace in our city and in the U.S., he was inspired by the hand that lifted him up. And he decided to give back to the city that has helped him when nobody else would. He decided to pursue a career in law enforcement and to be our PD. He joined the department because it's one of the most diverse departments in the state, he says, and he wants to paint the right image of law enforcement and show people that that officers are here to protect and serve. Meredith McCauley. From Reading, Pennsylvania, she earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. She hopes to be as helpful and respectable to the Richmond community as she can be as an officer. And being a female officer, she hopes to influence other females in the community to join RPD too. She says, although Richmond is a new city to her, she looks forward to helping people and keeping the community safe. Pinning her badge today are her parents. John Mitchell. From South Hill, Virginia, he graduated UVA with a history degree. He's a former firefighter, and based on the events of 2020, he said, the time is now for him to become a police officer, and the need is stronger now than it's ever been. He looks forward to being a proactive law enforcement officer. Pinning his badge today is Instructor McTurnan. Samuel Morgan. From Chester, VA, he chose law enforcement as a career because he wants to impact lives and help the people in the community that he serves, especially our youth. Morgan says training has changed him mentally and physically, and the academy has helped him look at things differently and taught him new skills. As for advice for the rest of us, based on his experience, he says, don't be afraid of stepping outside of your comfort zone to see your true potential. Morgan is joined by his father and brother-in-law. Aaron Preston. Pinning his badge today is his dad, Samuel Preston. Originally from Reading, PA as well, he graduated from the University of Miami. He says, I never suspected I'd be well on my way into the field of policing, but he discovered through this process that he wants to make his way to the federal level and to make a difference in the lives of future generations. Preston hopes that as a law enforcement officer, he can at the very least be the one who defines, quote, police service as a public servant. Arnold Roots II. Pinning his badge today are his mom and his dad. He's from Henrico and says that after spending time in the city, it's become such a special place that he didn't want to work anywhere else but Richmond. Law enforcement was the first career he thought about as a kid back in elementary school, and that dream stuck with him until he decided to go ahead and pursue his ambition to serve people, and particularly his community, in a capacity where he can potentially impact many, many lives. He chose to be RPD because he heard good things about RPD from officers who were really genuine and professional in how they conduct themselves. In his career at RPD, he wants to be known as polite, understanding, and a respectful officer. Beyond that, he hopes to impact the kids living in the city and to be a positive role model. Dallas Wayne. From the West Coast of Riverside, California, her journey, personal life experiences, and friends in law enforcement, as well as her almost one-year-old son, have inspired her to chart a career in law enforcement. As an officer, Wayne wants to change the outlook the public has on law enforcement. She wants to make a difference in the younger generation of Richmond, and more specifically, wants to eventually help victims of domestic violence. Wayne decided to be RPD based on a recommendation of a former officer who said the training is one of the best in the country. She's most excited about the opportunities within the department. She says she loves the city and loves the people here. Her defining moment came during basic recruit training with what might be the most physical challenging part of the academy, saying she had to really push herself, especially since she just had a baby 5 months prior. Things were not physically easy for her, she said. One thing Wayne's gotten a glimpse of is just how versatile officers are called to be and the mental toughness it takes to do the job. She says it's a special group of people. Andrew Weiser. Pinning his badge today is Instructor Pritchard. From Springfield, Virginia, Weiser says he wants to be the best patrolman he can be in service to Richmond. He chose to be RPD because he wants to get real experience, and he aspires to work in the K-9 unit. Before joining RPD, Weiser worked in the food industry and said he's most excited about the experience he's set to gain from working in patrol and the amount of possibilities available to his career here at RPD. Of the basic recruit experience, he says it's given him a great sense of accomplishment. I now present to you the 125th class of RPD. And now, please join me in welcoming Acting Chief Rick Edwards.
Don't body shame me. So I'm Rick Edwards. I'm the Acting Chief of Police for the City of Richmond.
Sybil, am I day 34 or 35 yet? What are we looking at? Okay. All right, that's a good number. So first, for the recruits and for the crowd here, I just want to thank everyone for coming. This is a wonderful crowd. Councilman Jones, Councilwoman Trammell, thank you for coming. Director Swan, thank you for coming and for coming this morning to our Valor Awards. And I'm sure there's others in here, just the lights, I can't see everyone. So I appreciate everyone who's come, friends and family, and the command staff of our police department. So thank you. And CEO Saunders, of course. So the 125th, protect with honor, serve with pride. I like that motto. It does hurt me to know that you're the 125th, I'm the 82nd. That's 43 classes between us. Just know when we started, I had a full head of hair, so I can't promise anything for you. So I like that motto. What I'd like to share to you today is something that I've shared with the police department, and it's our new 5 core values. And the first one is an important one. It's employee health, wellness, and morale. And it's been alluded to earlier about what this job can do to you. So I'm going to impress upon you to stay close as a team, to learn from the officers around you, talk to your family and friends, and be open about what you're feeling. There's no shame in it, and we need to stop the shame of feeling like you're overwhelmed. You know, nobody in the Richmond Police Department feels anything about pressing that Mayday button on your radio when you need help on the street. What we need to do is find a Mayday button for mental health in our agency. So if you're feeling that, that's the man you talk to, Captain Jackson. He's the director of the CISM team, and he has 25 members that are willing to help, day or night. Take it seriously. Rebuilding trust and legitimacy is number 2. 2020 was a tough year for this profession, and it was a tough year for this city. And we have work to do. We need to re-engage with our community and build those relationships that we've had in the past. So that's what I want you to do when you think of core value 2. And public safety through community engagement. That one gets missed a lot. And what does that exactly mean? Well, what it means is that I expect you to be approachable to the community. I expect you to treat them with dignity and respect, and you will get that back many times forward. So remember that. Number 4, innovation through technology. We are short-staffed. We are authorized for 755 sworn members. We're at 603 right now, and more with you. So I think now we're adding another 12. But that's not where we want to be in our staffing. So for us to be effective, to be the kind of police department we want to be, we have to leverage technology, and we've got some great things we're going to teach you about how to do that. And finally, community policing through strategic planning and evidence-based research. That's something else you're going to learn about very quickly. Using techniques and tactics that are based upon evidence to show where the crime is and when it's occurring is how we're going to limit crime in our city and make our community safer. And it's a fairer way to police. So I want you to think about that. Some of the advice that I would give you, and it was given to me early in my career, and I've lived by it, is protect your reputation. You've started a journey in the academy and you've built a reputation. But all that kind of goes away until the day you hit the streets in one of the 4 precincts. Understand what that means, because it's literally all you have. Something else I would say about that, and it's something I've tried to live by, and it's you're auditioning for your next job in this agency every day you come to work. You just don't know it. It's the people around you. It's the community you serve. It's your supervision. So when we talk about peers and supervisors and building that reputation you have, you're going to have a choice out there. Am I going to milk a call so that my buddy on the other beat takes that next one? Am Am I going to go back to the precinct late when I'm supposed to be doing a hotspot curve that my new captain in 1st Precinct is going to make you do? Or am I going to do it the right way? And I would recommend when you're internally, do it the right way, because you never know the position you're going to be in, and you never know the people around you will remember what you did. I remember people I served with 23 years ago on the street, and what they were then is what they are now. So protect that reputation internally. The other advice I'll give you, and it's something that often gets overlooked, your reputation with the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office and the judges of the city. You need to protect that as well. Are you going to be the kind of officer that doesn't show up to court or shows up late? Are you going to be the kind of officer that shows up unprepared for testimony? Don't be that, because they remember names too. And they are an important partner in public safety with us. It doesn't matter what this police department does. At the arraignment, if the Commonwealth Attorney doesn't like the case you've brought to them, that person walks out the door. So care about what they think about you in everything that you do. And when you testify in court, testify honestly to 100% of your ability. If you don't know something, say it. And that might mean that a guilty person walks free, but you'll have your integrity and people will remember that. There is no shame in making a mistake. The shame is not being honest about the mistake. And finally, your reputation in the community. Guard that as well. You're going to interact with people, and I have for my career, and all these commanders down here have too, for years, for decades in this city, and people remember you. That interaction you have may be small to you, but they'll remember that encounter. So guard your reputation with them. You will know if you're a good officer on your beat because they will give you a nickname. Now, we gave Silky his nickname, but there's but it's either going to be a good nickname, an ambivalent nickname, or a terrible nickname. So earn your good nickname is what I'll say about that. Now, this class is a bit special to me because before I came in my current position, I came to your class and taught you two things. Can anyone remember what I first taught you? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There you go. Thank you. No one just wanted to say, they remember. I'm a good instructor, so it was not a boring class. And what he said was dying declarations. Now, dying declaration is a very specific loophole in the law to get around the hearsay rule. So you can testify to someone else's words without them being in court if it's considered to be a dying declaration. So what I did for these officers is I told them about a case of mine when I was a homicide investigator where officers took a dying declaration. And it was one of the worst cases I ever worked. It was a young lady who had been set on fire by her child's father, all on videotape in a vestibule of a hotel. And she ran back to her room, and while she's on 911 and while the first officer's there, she makes a dying declaration. And I played that recording for these officers. And it requires a person to know that they're dying. And what we teach these officers, if you find someone in that situation and they're not saying I'm dying, then you've got to say it. Sir, you've been shot. It looks like you're dying. Tell me who shot you. And if they tell you, you can testify to it later in court if they pass away. Now, that's a cold-blooded thing to have to teach people. That's a hard thing to teach people. So we taught you that. We taught you how to apply a tourniquet to gunshot wounds. We taught you how to use force. We taught you a lot of things that hardened your hearts. Because able to function in this job, you've got to harden your hearts in some ways. Does anyone remember the second class I taught you? Someone's got to say it. That's right. It wasn't really a class per se. It was a conversation after we viewed a documentary called Herd, Surviving and Thriving in American Housing Project. It takes place in Richmond. It follows 6 Richmonders who grew up in public housing. It's about an hour and 20 minutes. It follows their life over the course of years. And it's an extremely well done documentary. I highly recommend it. It's free on, if you Google it, you can watch it. And it's cool for us because it's in our city. But the stories of those 6 individuals, who I actually knew 2 of them before I saw the documentary, but the stories are profound and important because it shows the common humanity we all have. And one of my sergeants in 1st Precinct first made me aware of the documentary, John Bridges, Sergeant John Bridges. He was at a film festival, and yes, cops go to film festivals, apparently. But he came back, he spoke to the producer and said, hey, this is this awesome documentary. I've got access to it. It hasn't been released yet. We've got a code where we can show our 1st Precinct officers access to it. So I said, well, let me see it. And I watched it, and I was blown away. And I said, I want every one of our officers in 1st Precinct to watch this video because it gives you an understanding of people who have challenges but are the same as you or I. And when we did that, we showed it to the rest of the department. And after that, we started showing it at the training academy. And then we had a really earnest conversation after the viewing. So I wanted to do something to soften your heart in just the right ways. Another piece of advice that I would give you is the advice of the golden rule of policing. And if you follow this rule, you'll never go wrong. Treat everyone you come in contact with the way you'd like a loved one of yours to be treated by another police officer in the same situation. If you follow that simple code, you won't go wrong. Now, when I first said that, I told a young officer, treat someone in the same situation, treat your mother the way you'd like a police officer to treat her. And he said, I really don't like my mother. So I said, all right, well, let me, that was the first time I'd ever heard that, so now I just say loved one. So that's a good piece of advice that if you follow that, it's a good guide. So, and finally, and it's nice that Councilman Jones is here, because when I accepted the position of acting chief, I called all the council persons, and we just talked through what my plans were and what I was going to do. And Councilman Jones mentioned to me that, hey, a guy from my church, a big guy, Arnold Roots, he's in the academy. I said, I heard of Roots. I heard he's doing great. And I thought that was an interesting aside. And when we finished up, Councilman Jones says, I want to support the Richmond Police Department. How can I do it? And I said, you got a big church. Find me 10 more Roots. And I'm going to say that to everyone in this room. Someone in this room knows someone that wants to serve. We're hiring heroes here. There's 12 here, and there were 12 earlier at the Valor Awards. And there's 603 other heroes that wear this badge. So if anyone in this crowd knows someone that wants to serve, whether they're coming out of the military, whether they're coming out of college, or whether they're in a boring job, they want to find some excitement, we're hiring. Come find us. You will not be disappointed in this city. So I want to thank you for choosing Richmond. Stay RPD, be RPD. Thank you, everyone.
And now for our Law Enforcement Code of Ethics. Captain Kelly O'Connell will lead us.
The class will now recite the Code of Ethics.
As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all men to liberty, equality, and justice. I will
Training cadre, you may now dismiss the 125th Basic Recruit Class.